Okay, I would like to open this meeting, select board meeting at 7:14. Tonight is May 17th, and the agenda is as follows. We have a public comment session, approval of minutes from 5:3, 5:9, and 5:15. We have warrants, we have mail, old business, we have website and newsletter, and also ACO, and nothing for new business at this time. And I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion to approve.
You're second on that. I'll second that. How's that?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody here for public comment? That's that. No one here for that. Approval of minutes. 5:3, which was a regular meeting.
Just with one correction.
Okay.
On the old business ACO, it does say that the motion carried unanimously. I didn't officially abstain, but I didn't vote either. So I guess that means it's an abstention. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Right. So it will, with edits, I guess we will say.
Okay. I'll make a note of that for the clerk.
So you're making you made a motion to approve the minutes or not? You?
No, we haven't made
You
a
didn't?
motion yet.
Well,
What I said was that
Somebody has to.
with an edit.
We're at that point.
I make a motion to accept the minutes with edit.
I'll second.
All in
Five-
favor?
5/3/18?
Yes.
5/9/18?
Yes.
5-3.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Okay, the next one would be 5:9, which was a public hearing.
Motion to approve.
Do we have another copy of that? Oh, this will be important too, right? May 15th and May
Yes.
9th. Okay.
That was for the town plan. So you
Oh,
made the motion, Jenny?
Motion to approve.
I seconded it. All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm abstaining because I wasn't present.
Okay, correct. And the last one is the 5:15, which was a special meeting.
Motion to approve.
And that was also to vote on, that was for the town plan, that was the final
was for-
vote on that.
Yeah.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, warrants. Warrant number 1. It's going to be for payroll. And the total amount is 11,390. I'm sorry, that would be close. The total on payroll would be 8,423.57. Warrant number 2 is payroll also, ending with 7,104.04. Number 3 is going to be accounts payable for a total of $20,028.92, with the large ones being Bennington County Regional Sheriff's Department for $4,100, People's United Bank for a payment, and $3,000 to our animal control officer for the purchase of some equipment. Warrant number 4 is accounts payable for $3,559.02, and that is for $29,9850 to Hoosick River Hydro, and $560 to Green Mountain Power. Warrant number 5 is going to be for accounts payable, total of $35,064.27. With the largest one being Basin Brothers Trucking for $23,000. That's for gravel crushing. Attorney's fees for $2,200, and TAM for $3,000. And those are our warrants for tonight. And I'll take a motion to approve.
Motion to approve?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Mail. We have a letter from a resident in Green Mountain Trailer Park with concerns about dogs in the park. Basically what it is she's requested in the last 2 years that we have our animal control officer go in there to make sure all the dogs are properly licensed and up to date. That's one concern, and the other concern is that we have recently purchased some equipment for our dog officer and fencing at his house. And there's a question as to the town paying for that.
Should we discuss that now?
Comments to that, yeah.
So I did reach out to her just to say it's actually, the animal control officer doesn't go into a whole neighborhood to do licensing and rabies shots, but if a specific call is made about a specific dog, then he would respond to it. I didn't say that in great detail, but I just said that's not what he did. And then the second part of it is, the job, we've appointed him to do this job, and he has to have the equipment to do the job well, and so this equipment was approved by all of us so that he could hold the dogs in a safe manner that he has to hold on his property, so we have to put them on his property.
And I
That's my
think
answer to
the
that.
questions were a little bit, right, on the first part of that, I think the question was to have him go in and make sure that they have their rabies, not to give them the rabies shots.
That's correct.
So
Oh, right.
Up to date
it is
with-
to check and
right.
make
Right,
sure that they
yes.
are compliant
Yes.
with whatever our
Yes.
laws are.
License and, right.
But I
And-
don't know that he actually, that position does that,
And you know what, I'm not sure either.
I believe they
Do they?
don't. I mean, when I asked Nelson about it earlier this morning.
That's
And
the way
he
I
said-
understand it
He
also.
said it's a specific, if you get a call about a specific dog, then he goes and checks on the dog, but he wouldn't go to an entire park and go door
Okay,
to door
so
to check the
if
dogs.
if she wanted action, she would have to say, this dog at that house,
Correct.
Exactly.
can you come and check it?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
That makes sense. And then the second part was,
I'd
what
like to
happens?
make a suggestion on that, though. There's been some correspondence, which it hasn't been as a board or nothing, but there's been emails here and there and stuff. I think that we ought to get our dog officer, he sent me a thing, and I can't even understand it. I don't, and I think we ought to get him in here and talk to him, and make sure it's clear on these purchasing things. And also, we could ask him that question about, you know, can you go check for rabies or whatever? I think he may be able to. I don't know though, for sure. You know, see if they got because they're supposed to be registered with the
right.
town.
That's
Yeah.
right.
So, I mean, I
So-
think he can do it. But I don't know for sure, but I think we ought to find out,
Right.
get him in here and talk
Sure,
to him, or
sure.
contact him or something,
Sure.
find out where we're going. 'Cause
But in discussion, my thought would be, well, if he's gonna do it in that park, would he go into the other parks and do the same and make sure all the, I mean, I'm not sure that we
well,
wanna.
that I don't know. That's what I'm saying, but we
Okay.
ought to
Okay.
ask and find
Okay.
out. If,
Okay. The other question in the letter too, concern was the equipment, can it be removed if he was to leave? And the answer is yes,
Right.
yes, it could.
So it's officially town property, I think, right?
Right.
It's officially town property, and then if something,
Correct.
if he were to quit or
Correct.
something
That
would
would be the
happen,
way I would
Yeah,
understand it,
yeah.
yes.
we could go in and take
Yes.
it back.
Yes.
Yeah, but it has to be on his land because that's where he holds the dogs, so.
Right.
Then do we do
And-
anything to inspect or anything else?
I don't
on-
believe so, but I wonder if, with that suggestion being made, Bob, that would we do a letter? Would we do maybe a written agreement with him on that equipment?
That's a good idea.
Mhm.
And I think, I think one of the things, and unless this is it, I mean, this is a purchasing policy that I'm seeing for the first time. And maybe that's a perfect job for a new town administrator, is to come up with a disbursement policy, an expense policy, something that's a little more exacting on documentation of expenses.
Okay.
Well, there
and
was
then
some
it might even-
confusion about receipts. Proper receipts or whatever. And I think we ought to explain to him what we gotta have, or whatever. I mean, he has some kind of receipts, but an auditor asked me about it.
Correct.
I says, I don't know. I says, well, we'll have to talk to him, for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a little
No, that was a good
disappointed
catch.
with
That was a good
myself
catch
that I
from the
didn't
auditor.
think of.
Well-
to ask him for the receipts.
Right. And I think we need to have some more discussion about that later on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The next.
Oh, wait, this, you know what? Should I mention this expense line now? Well, since we're on that subject, or just wait to the.
We can, sure. We can do
So
that.
the one thing is that it was paid out of the animal control expense line, and it should have been paid out of the animal shelter account, which we had discussed has $2,500 in it. So I don't know, the other 500 perhaps comes out of the expense line, but so that needs to be transferred, and in order for it to be transferred, we have to have a vote.
Okay.
So I make a motion to transfer the payment from the ACO expense line to the animal shelter account.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carried.
I'm trusting that you did your homework, Jane.
I did my homework.
Okay.
I did,
The
I was
next
informed.
piece of mail is a resolution of the Board of Selectmen to adopt the town plan. It states, whereas the Selectmen held a duly warned public meeting on March 14th and May 9th, and whereas all comments have been reviewed and considered, be it resolved that on this day, the Board of Selectmen approve and adopt the master plan for the town of Pownal, Vermont, dated this 15th day of May 2018. And it's been signed by everybody except for Nelson, who is not here tonight, and Linda, our administrative assistant. The next is from Jim Sullivan from Bennington County Regional Commission. This is something that he wanted to share on our various mailing lists. This is an invitation to a program called Bridges Out of Poverty Workshop. It's sponsored by the Greater Bennington Interfaith Community Services. This workshop welcomes all members of the Bennington area community. We will look at the impact of generational poverty on families and communities, why we must respond, and how we can use an understanding of economic diversity to build a sustainable Bennington. Economic diversity is not an easy conversation. Let's gather to challenge ourselves to rethink our own mental modes about economic diversity and to help our community move from tolerance to acceptance. Relationships have the power to change and design a new world. This event will be held Friday, June 22nd from 9 to 4 at Sacred Heart St. Francis Parish Center at 238 Main Street. Registration cost is required at $30, includes lunch. Scholarships are available. So if we could get that to be posted on our website.
You said 9 a.m. to 4.
Correct. Yes.
I'll put it on the event part of the website.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll have it on the newsletter that's a little bit closer to the date.
Okay.
But you have to sign up for it, so, good. I'll post it on my social
Okay.
media.
The next, we have 2 letters from Green Lantern. These are advance notices of their intent to do solar net metering projects. One of them being known as Pownal Transfer East. This is to inform that they're planning to construct a 150 kW photovoltaic electric group net metering system behind the town of Pownal's Maple Grove Road transfer station on the northernmost closed and capped Pownal landfill. This project is less than 1 acre of a larger parcel of 32 acres owned by the town of Pownal. A title search has revealed no permits applicable to the property, such as Act 250 or wastewater. This is being proposed to consist of 6 rows of panels varying lengths set at a south-facing angle secured on fixed racks, totaling approximately 660 modules. This is the other one, which would be, is also, let's see here, this is also on, no, it'd be the same one.
Well, as I understood it, there was gonna be 1 at the wastewater treatment facility and 2 at the transfer station.
Okay, so
you
this
may
is-
have 2 for the
Okay,
transfer
this is
station.
the, this
There's
is,
2
okay,
on Maple Grove.
okay, I understand. One's on the right side as you enter
Yep.
the transfer station,
That's
one's
right.
on the left.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
that was the one I just talked about was the right side. The left side is also 150 kW. This is a preferred site for the solar development due to its location on a closed landfill. This property also is less than 1 acre. This project consists of 5 rows of panels, varying length, set at south-facing angle.
We're not taking any action on that.
We're not, these are just notices that I believe that this has been,
Yeah, 'cause I think it does warrant some more discussion. I did read a news article about net metering rates changing, and how does that impact this, and how does it impact the payback,
okay.
and those sorts of things.
So maybe we want to have Ralph come back in and talk, or we want to talk about it ourselves first?
I'm not sure the right approach.
Okay.
We probably want to talk about it ourselves first.
Okay,
and then,
okay, very good. So maybe we can have that added to our agenda the next
next
meeting
meeting.
when Nelson's here also as a full
Great.
board.
Yeah.
They'll give us a little time to research it.
Okay.
And to come up with good questions. 'Cause
Okay.
I think we may have missed some good questions when he was in here the first time.
Okay,
Like, what happens if it changes again? What happens if net metering goes away altogether? I mean, these are all legislative.
Okay.
So, I think we need to be clear on what the contingency is,
okay.
you know, is the
I
payback
believe
that
at this
changes.
time, the only thing we've agreed to do is to apply to see if it's even acceptable with the state and Green Mountain Power.
Right.
Right.
But there were 2 things, there was 2 things about that, though. The first is that before entering into the contract, they're gonna do a feasibility study or something along those, I don't know
Yes.
if that's what it was called,
Yes,
but
it
it was
was.
something along those lines. I'm not 100% clear as to whether they're gonna come back and say it's feasible for us. I think that is part of it, and then we do have an opportunity to say no, but it has to be, but them entering in it means that we have to have a good reason to say no if they decide to move forward. So if it's profitable for them, they're gonna recommend moving forward, and unless we have a good reason to say no, and I suppose changes in net metering are not getting the right answers to what happens to changing policy as we go forward, because it's not just net metering, it's what other subsidies are making solar viable, and can you count on that legislation for 20 years? Because when we enter into that contract, it's at least a 20-year contract.
Correct.
So,
Okay.
so I think there are some questions to
Okay,
answer.
very good. The next is some correspondence with the state of Vermont. The first one is announcement that the town of Pownal has acquired will acquire $117,920 for paving of South Stream Road.
That's great.
That's a really good thing to hear. Of course, we'll have to contribute towards that also. I believe 20%. That's let me see here. The other 2 that we applied for, one for Maple Grove Road was denied. And a structures grant for Mount Anthony Road, that was also denied also.
So that's $4,000 to us to do the one. Right, we're gonna get 20, and we're gonna kick in 4. Is that right?
No, we're gonna be responsible. I believe of the total project, we have to contribute towards this. This is like 80%. The $117,000 is 80% towards that project. So we'll have to contribute the balance, which would be,
Oh, I thought it was 20,000.
no,
Okay.
no, it would be more than, it would be,
Okay.
yeah, it's 20%, I'm sorry if I didn't say that.
No, you probably said that.
Okay. The next one is a workshop for local officials, essentials of land use planning and regulation. This is being put on by Bennington County Regional Commission. being held Monday, June 11th from 4:30 to 6 at the Solomon Wright Library in Pownal. And the second one is Wednesday, June 13th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. also at the Sunderland Town offices. There's some information here on signing up to those. We have our monthly statement and copies of all the daily log sheets from the Sheriff's Department that are here if anybody wants to come in and read them. But basically it comes down to past month, from April 1st to April 30th. They had 22 calls, 1 911 hang-up, 4 agency assists, 1 public assist, 1 burglary, 3 suspicious events, 1 accident with property damage, 3 agency assists, fire and rescue, 1 motor vehicle complaint, 1 VIN verification, 5 directed patrols all over town, 49 traffic stops all over town. 21 tickets were written that month, and 11 verbal warnings. And that would be for mail.
What's the percentage that we receive from the tickets?
So at this time, the way I understand it right now, it's not clear.
Okay.
I think Linda would have to explain that to us. We're in the process of rewriting our municipal ordinance. We do receive some money from the state on baskets that are written on our roads. But I think the state roads, that money goes
State
back to the
roads,
state.
we do not get much.
That's right.
The town roads, we get more,
Yeah.
our roads, but the 7 and 346, we get a small percentage.
So if you're gonna speed, do it on the town roads, okay?
Well, the way I understand it right now, well, I guess we've got to have, we've asked about it recently and they're working on it right now.
Okay.
But we're looking at updating our ordinance so that we can collect on, through the sheriff's department when they write tickets on our roads.
There was a human resources workshop that didn't make its way into there, that I'm gonna be attending.
I didn't see it.
It came by email. Does anyone remember seeing it?
Don't.
Oh well.
Was it, okay.
I can print it up and we can bring it in next week, just,
I did not see it. It's not, yeah, I do remember seeing an email where you did a reply to it,
Yeah.
that you were gonna go.
anyway, I don't know. Oh, I probably filed it for workshops. So.
Okay, moving along, we're going to old business and website newsletter information.
Did everyone, there's the event page is up on the website, and the school board page is up on the website. That's all I have about that, unless anyone needs to add something. I'll add this, that we just got, this event. Anything else anyone want to add to anything? To the website?
To the website, no.
Great, so for the newsletter, I was thinking about the whole, the idea of trying to get it out in a more paper form, and I think what might work is putting it at the library and having a binder at the library that's just the newsletter, and then asking the library if they could print it out every week and pop it into the binder. And so then people can go and see it there, and then also asking the library if they might put a link to it on their website, so that when people go sit at the computers there, because people will go to the library to get internet when they don't have it at home. So they go there to use the computers, so that might make it more accessible to people who don't have regular access to email. So I'm happy to print it out, put a binder together, take all over the newsletters that we've already had, drop it at the library and talk to them about printing and keeping it updated for us.
Okay.
Is everyone okay with, does it sound like a good idea?
It does. I would, anything that improves our outreach, I'm all
Yeah.
for.
So, because there was some talk about it not being accessible to people who don't look at email all the time. So Ronnie, you can go to the library and read the binder.
I'll check on that in my spare time.
But we also have, there's an archive also. For
Yeah, but that's
business.
still online, so
Sure,
it still
sure,
requires internet. But
so
yes, there's
people-
an
so
archive,
the-
so you can always access any of them. but
Okay.
it just seemed like a good, obvious place to put it, rather than, I mean, I don't think it would be great if we found a way to get it around more places in town, but I think there's discussion about who would do that and how that would be done and what the practicality of that is, so at least let's do the library.
If I have had somebody actually volunteer to help distribute if we can get
that's
it down to
great.
something that we can print. But it might be a slightly different format.
Yeah, it's
Um,
not super printable because it doesn't paginate well. So,
Right, exactly. So,
um,
but there might be some alternatives that I'm thinking of that wouldn't impact the newsletter, but might be an alternative that uses the newsletter to be something to print. And I would actually
Yeah.
volunteer to drop off the, by Saturday noon, I can have them dropped off at whatever the local places are, to have people pick them up. But let me ponder that for a minute, because
yeah.
you're doing enough work on it already. I think if I can take on some of that when it comes to the
For
printing
distributing.
portion.
That'd be great.
Um,
But there's a cost associated with printing it.
There is a cost associated with printing it. So what I was thinking was we could have because the print would be a different, well, let me ponder it a little bit. But just a high level would be, it would have a static header, is what I'm thinking. And the static header would be, town open offices, open hours, things like that people could use and print and look at. I think I would change the contact your select board to make these links, and that is one request I would have.
Oh yeah,
for
I
you,
saw that.
Jenny.
That's a great. I actually changed it.
Oh really? That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I saw your email and I thought that was a
So
great idea.
instead of having a link that says email Nelson,
Yeah.
the link should be his actual email address. That
Because
way
then
it
someone can
serves
take
both
it on paper
purposes.
and write the email. Yeah, no, that was
And
a good
then,
suggestion.
and then if we're coming up with a printable version of this, then we could have that static, and I could just copy and paste the stuff that's the updates. But what would make it more useful for reaching out to the town and make us more transparent, I think, is the government stuff. I think, and I'm sure people are interested in the Little League schedule and things like that. It's good information, but it might be outside the scope of government, and it's not. That's not the. I don't mean to say that it's outside the scope of government. What I'm saying is to increase our outreach and to make sure that we're more transparent, I would just focus on the government stuff.
Sure, I mean.
Yeah, the Little League's gonna be over in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
Well, I know, but it'll be replaced with something. I mean, the football schedule's we're probably gonna go in there, so.
Do we have a football
I don't
team?
know, we don't have football. I think there's little ways to make it really neat right now and interesting. I think little things like that. And eventually it's going to change. Like I said, I think we're going to run out of bios to do.
Yeah.
I think eventually, and maybe we probably someday we may do it. Maybe every other week. Of course, it
Yeah.
may change too when we have an
Yeah,
administrator.
it's going to be a
and
fluid thing. for
to me,
sure.
it's kind of there's some little bit of a novelty. Some of it I think is I think it makes it kind of interesting. I do. I think it's.
Well,
I mean,
that's
if you
true, and the
print-
more interesting you make it, the more likely people are to use
Right.
it and see it.
Right.
And we could still do that, but if we were to group all of the government stuff together and up front, and then the other stuff, or just change the layout a little bit, then the pagination might work a little bit better.
Sure, and that's for the printed version.
Yep.
Then great.
Great.
Yeah, I have no.
All right, so
issue
let me
with
let me
having a
ponder that,
different
and I may come in with
version
a
of printed
recommendation.
version.
Okay, great. Very
Great.
good. Do you have anything on the website or the newsletter?
No, I'm
Okay.
good.
All right. And the next item we have is an ACO issue, and I think we need to.
That was the one that we already tackled with the letter. That was the moving it, the
Yeah.
expense line to the fund.
And then we also had some other discussion.
Yes.
on that, so. And there's no other new business to be had, so I think I'm going to take a motion to do something have a discussion on our ACO.
For executive session.
Sure.
I make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.